just breathe for a second.
So you hosting?
We watched the ping fluctuation. I mean, sure. Why don't I do that? And and then it'll be fun when I everybody's gonna have to remember their assignments though, because I am not going to.
I'll type him into the notes.
Great.
Oh, that's Roy's job. Helpful. He's got to queue us up. It's
well, but if
here we go.
It kind of seems like if I'm doing it though, I'm gonna feel pretty like when Jig did the SCO. What did he call it? It was like it was something about channeling Roy
substitute
somehow.
Cookson something, I forget.
Substitute Cookson overdrive. I don't know. That gave me a chuckle. Anyways,
I love inside jokes. Love to be a part of one someday.
You, my friend. Okay. All right. Deep breaths. Okay. Welcome to the Loose Screws podcast on this 2nd of April. Hey, it's just dawning on me. We've gone a couple of years now without doing any April Fool's gags. I bet nobody's mad.
Who says this isn't it right now?
I guess we'll see how this episode turns out. This is episode number 326, and like I say, it's the 2nd of April in 2026.
33,012-ish.
310
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, see? I'm Commander JN Trax, and for some reason, nobody gets in my way if I just act like I'm hosting this show. So, as I said on my other podcast, I had the same reaction where I prepared not at all, and the episodes seemed to keep coming out okay. And I said, somebody needs to put a stop to me, honestly, because I should not be getting away with this. Over here, of course, we have entirely more support than I deserve because Roy keeps doing all the organizing. So tonight I'm joined by Roy Cookson.
Good evening.
And Kruger 5.
Hello there.
And back from a long hiatus, Audaxius.
Yeah, it's good to be back, guys.
Guys. I'll tell you for free that since I've been last on this show, I got bored with other stuff that I was doing, and I just went and fought Thargoids for all of my sporadic stints of game time in the past couple of weeks. So I have no idea what's going on. All I can tell you is that the Kestrel is, to the surprise of no one, good at combat, even if the combat is against Thargoids. It's like easier than the previous easy mode ship that I loved, which was Cobra Mark V, and this one even has a bigger distributor. It's when you can just casually fly backwards at 456 meters a second, like your engine power is the same in every direction like it is on the Kestrel, you literally can go faster than a Basilisk can boost, just backwards. I've invented a new challenge run, and it's the no boost Basilisk. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if this isn't no damage run or anything like that. It's doing a whole Thargoid Basilisk, and you never push that boost button. Even when they're chasing you with the lightning after the first heart, you never need to push the boost button because they literally don't have a chance, man. It's
Trax,
crazy.
Are you saying that Reverski is now a valid AX strategy? The dreaded Reverski is now the universal strat for the game?
If only you were part of an inside joke, right?
Oh, yeah, someday.
No, you know what I mean? You well, whatever. So some of you may know what I mean, but the Basilisk is faster than the rest. For anyone who doesn't know, the Basilisk is faster than the rest of the variants by quite a bit. And normally you want to have a pretty good amount of speed, but usually most of the Thargoid fighting ships do need to utilize boosting in a big circle to outrun the Basilisk. or just straight up boosting frontways away from it or something. But I usually keep my orbit tight because I don't like to lose them. And this ship just can do the whole thing. I don't have to boost. There was the swarm missiles I can avoid without boosting. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, had some fun. I didn't even leave the bubble. There's mega ships you can go to in a few systems. I tried the one in Gree, and it has a pretty high rate of producing all the different variants of Interceptor. You never know what you're going to get out of it. Unlike the conflict zones where it's become, after one of the updates a few years ago, they're like a parade of Cyclops almost all the time. But yeah, I saw almost the same amount of every kind of Interceptor out there, which is kind of fun. So anyway, that's what I've been doing and stuff. What about I'll go bottom to top. What about Audaxius?
Whole lot of nothing. I haven't played the game in a while, guys. I confess. I've had wall-to-wall real-life stuff with work conferences, starting my own business on the side. The kind of consistent evenings that you get to the point in the evening when you expect you can relax, and you're like, Jesus Christ, it's 9:00. Guess I'll go to bed. Yeah, pretty consistent. That's not usual for me. And but yet here I am. As I yet live and breathe. Kind of once entertained the notion of popping into my favorite Nemesis Discord, and I'm there, looking for one of my nemesises, just searching out someone to recreationally upset. And I have this moment. It's like this mental clarity of like, is this the right way to act? Is this how you should conduct yourself with limited time you have on this planet? And the answer was yes. The answer was
it wasn't.
Yeah, yes. The answer was yes, and I was a bit of a tough nut, but all's fair in love and discord. So that is my that's the Daxi update.
Is this a Discord we know and are members of?
Don't feed the beast.
No, I don't like where this is headed.
Yeah, people say don't feed the trolls, which is good advice. However, better advice is yes, don't feed the trolls. You have to monetize the trolls. It's a drama economy on the internet. So monetize.
This is your
trolls.
side business, then.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. Oh well, just give the whole thing away, will you? Huh?
Were you going to tell us more about it on your own? I felt like I had to.
No, it's power play in my mind is all is fair in love and power play. I'll just say that. So, on to you, Roy.
Okay. I was gone last week. I took a short trip with my bride to a nice, quiet, nearby resort to celebrate our wedding anniversary. We'd been needing some downtime. It was very nice.
Cool.
Very calm, and got to look at a lake and a mountain and eat some good food, and very relaxing. So mission accomplished. In game, I've only been back a bit, so not a whole lot. The first evening back, I popped in briefly to do some gold hauling for a purpose.
Reasons?
I will definitely be trying out this new CG, though, that we'll talk about a bit later. And that's about it. So let's see.
The story.
Kruger,
then it just bounces to Kruger. That's right.
Bounced to Kruger, yeah.
It bounced.
Best
Bounce
for last. Let me see. I think I've got the loose screws in real life trifecta of things. I was like sitting down like, God, what do I have that's like been interesting to talk about? But I've got home repair stuff. I've got dog pet updates, and nerdy general pop culture stuff. So I think I'm hitting the highlights here. So we had had a new furnace and heat pump put in. Spent many thousands of dollars on that, but really looking forward to a little AC cooling come as the it warms up here. So that's the first one. My poor dog had to go in for dental work, and he was miserable. So hitting that point. But what else? The fun one, I got to go do my my oldest daughter. Her roommates do a dads and daughters ski trip. So we went and did a little spring skiing in Idaho, and got all together with these. There was 5 of us, or 5 groups of us. So that was a great time, just getting to go and hang out and meet her roommates and hang out with her parents and go do some skiing and everything. So that was a good time. Let's see. The last time I was on, I was telling you guys all about like watching all of the Oscars and all the movies for the best picture there, and that was like a big task and left me. So I've been trying to like fill the entertainment and nerdy social media hole. So finally, with that, I finally finished watching Pluribus for season 1 there.
Cool.
Good. Yeah.
So have you guys seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. we talked about it when you weren't here. Yeah.
That was a fun one. Man, I was the biggest Project Hail Mary fan of the book. So finally got things aligned. I got like great tickets at the IMAX theater.
Nice.
Went to go see it on the big screen. Absolutely loved it. Rocky. Oh man, it's one. I read the book. I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook, the guy who does it, and like, it's great.
Ray Porter.
He's like, yeah, Ray Porter. He's like doing like a bunch of promos and stuff for it, which is great because like I was with the movie, I was really like, Ray Porter's Rocky. I don't know if there could have been another Ray Porter's Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did a really good job. He's still my Rocky, but now I have another like another variation of it. So, yeah, absolutely love that.
That's like my favorite book. It's not a secret. I have read it and listened to it multiple times. Yeah, Ray Porter's. Part of his style that he's developed over the years of thousands of audiobook narrations is to not read ahead. So when you hear him, he is reading the book for the first time himself. And I think that came out really strongly in this one. There's a lot of poignant moments in that book where he is sincerely reading the story for the first time along with the listener, which is such a fantastic way to do it. But also saying, I can't believe I forgot about that. I was like, yes, I finally get to see Project Hail Mary. Went to a big theater and everything, as you say, fantastic. It's fun how it's its own, as a fan of the book, like it's its own piece of art, and I'm not gonna, be the book was better sort of stuff, because I want to enjoy it each thing for its own thing, and the things that they changed and decided to leave out are very intentional, and the book is so good for the. This is the word that we heard when like The Martian was really popular, right? But competency porn. Okay, so
I had not heard that.
That's more or less that's Andy Weir's genre as a writer, sort of, and so anyway, but there's a lot more of that in the book, because it's like, here's a hard problem, a really difficult problem, and then spending a lot of time solving it, whereas in the movie, it's like a 2.5-hour movie, and they've cut so much already, so it's like they have to kind of skip quickly through and then we solve this problem, but it comes out great. And I will also say that some of our friends went to the movie as a group, and one of them in particular who had absolutely no reference whatsoever for what the story was about. Like absolutely never heard of it, never heard of the book, going in, never saw a preview, just going to the movies with her friends, right? And she was moved to tears just with everybody else. And I thought that was, totally came along for the entire story, isn't a science fiction nerd, absolutely as opposite a target audience as you could be, and the story clearly landed and resonated with her, this, sort of buddy adventure story. And so that's why, it's like the best, most money-making movie of the year so far and everything else. So anyway, much success, and I'm very excited for like my favorite story ever to be doing so well in movie form, and it really is a spectacular show. Now that I totally stole that moment.
No, that was great. Because they did do such a great job with the movie. You nailed it.
It's so good. I'm so insistent. I could talk for hours. I could talk for hours and hours.
We can tell.
I have. But I'm really, really want to not do like spoilers at people and stuff. It's a fantastic flick. Even if you've not ever heard of the book, you should really check it out. So anyway.
I think we should just throw Roy's schedule out of the window now and just talk a half an hour about Project Hail Mary.
That wouldn't be terrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they did such a great job. Let me see what. The next item. It's one I had to go back and like search because this book keeps popping up like as a recommendation for me. So I went out and it's Dungeon Crawler Carl. I don't know if you guys have heard this, and it's one.
I think I have. I recognize that.
If it's not popping up for you, it probably will, because it has been for me. And I remembered it was one. It's like, oh, I kept seeing this in Discord. I thought it was like I was gonna go look to see and like look up like who recommended it out on the Loose Screws Discord, and I was like going and searching, and the only mention in there was Larkshade. I was kind of hoping Larkshade might be here because I could get him talking about that one too. He had asked if anybody had read it and recommendations and no spoilers and stuff, but it's been popping up everywhere for me. So and it was one I love a good audiobook too, and specifically like the ones that do it like a radio play with multiple voices and things like that. And it's one like I've done this on Luke's Screws already. I think and many other Discords that you guys might be a part of too. Like whenever it pops up on audiobooks, World War Z, like you have to go listen to World War Z because it's done by Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son. And being Mel Brooks' son, he has all of these friends and people he grew up with as uncles and aunts and things. They're these famous actors and actresses, and they all come in. He's got like a different voice for every chapter. It's amazing. It's one of the best things ever. Total divergence, didn't mean to go there. Back to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I was like, it was on the way to the ski trip. When I was driving out the ski trip, I was like, I need like an audiobook or something. Let me try that. And got that, and it's a lot of fun. And the funny thing is the guy who does the voice work for this one, it's one guy, but he does such a great job of like different voices, and it's the book. It's great. The book. Let me see. I'm 2 books in. There's like a series of them. 2 books in. I'm starting the 3rd one now. But he does all the voices himself, but he changes it up. He does a really good job doing like a female voice or these other ones. And it's like I thought it was multiple people at first. So it's great just on that alone. But the storyline is it's fun. It's like, it's never going to win any literary awards or anything. It's kind of cheesy and rude and crass in parts and all that, but it makes it more fun. Like, it's one. Go check it out. If anybody, if you, it's probably going to pop up for you and things. And it's definitely, if you're listening to this podcast or if you're like playing Elite Dangerous or playing video games at all, it is targeted at you. So that's been really good. That's kind of been my current obsession. And nice. Man, my section's going on way long here. I didn't even get that.
Yeah, but like 70% of that was me.
But you said everything I wanted to say. It was as if it was me.
Oh my God.
No, in game. Let's see. I've been doing some work outside of Screw Space. I think that's probably about all I can say on that. But been spending my time doing things
because
around
we
the
don't
galaxy.
allow people to talk about outside of Screw Space.
Well, there's some things that like you just keep it on the down low. But I finally got the Caspian. The Caspian came out for credits, and I finally got it. And that's I just wanted to make a note on that one because it was the first one. I was making it a point. I'm not going to buy this for arcs. It was just ones I kept. I've pretty much bought every one on arcs. I was like, this one I think I can go without it. So, but then it turned out to be like the absolute best relics runner.
Yep.
And it's like, oh man, I swore. And like, and a relics rush came, and like I swore, I was like, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm like, I'm gonna stick to it. Like I can do it. It's just one relics rush. Relics come like every 12 weeks or so on average. Like I'll miss this one. I'll just use my Anaconda that I was using, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then somehow somebody pushed it. There was another relics rush just a few weeks ago, right? I was so close. I was hovering over the button to buy it. I was like, and I didn't do it. So I'm really proud of myself to sticking to it. But I've got it now. Built out my relics rush version of it, and probably going to get a few more versions. But the one thing, the great thing on it, of course, there's a lot of great things about it, but the main one I was looking forward to was the overcharged, supercharged, like optimized supercharged FSD with the neutron stars and the white dwarfs. Yeah. And but I was kind of like plotting those out. Like in the past with neutron stars, I'd just go use Spanch or use the in-game one and things. But now I'm like determined to find the optimal route from Nguri to pick up relics and using whatever neutron stars or white dwarfs to like plot out the absolute optimal route to any system I want. And I found that that's actually a little bit of a gap in the third-party tools. Like they haven't really taken into consideration the white dwarfs yet, which makes sense because it wasn't really that much of a boost before.
It didn't add much.
Yeah, it didn't really add much, but now it does sometimes in a few situations. But the tools aren't there yet. So here's my plea to like anybody who's listening that's writing third-party tools, go make me a plotter that does a good neutron and white dwarf, and also looks at secondary stars plotting for me because I'm starting to look
it's worth it enough now. You'd even go to a secondary star if it was probably for a neutron, maybe not otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a few good secondary neutron stars too that don't always pop up unless you have like very certain ones. Like Spanch has a really good one that will do that for neutron stars. But I want more now. I want more, and save them for me. I've been looking in like, well, I could code that up. Looking into like creating my own. So save me from rewriting and writing a bunch of stuff, and someone go do it for me. So that's my plea.
All right.
Trax, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I'm definitely done because I think I started by just doing mine, and then the thing I forgot about was the movie. So then I co-opted that.
He told us his whole
piecemeal.
Yeah, he told us his whole one during Kruger's.
Right. Yeah. I just took his literally right after he said it and said, no, it was me that saw the movie.
It was the turducken
great
update.
We worked together.
Yeah. It's just such a good film, man. Puppetry. It's a puppet. It's not a CG thing. It's a puppet. Anyway, guys, it's just that I've been waiting so long for this movie. I heard an interview with Andy Weir before the book Project Hail Mary hit retail. He was doing some press stuff. One of my favorite podcasts did an interview with him and talked about the story. And during that interview, which was, as I say, like a couple of weeks before retail of the book, he said that MGM had optioned it and that Ryan Gosling was attached to the project. Wow. I've been waiting like over 5 years to watch this movie.
Jesus.
Before I even knew it was my favorite book, I knew I wanted to see it. So anyway.
That's pre-Odyssey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. A lot has happened in the time it's taken me to first hear this story and then to.
That's
to
the
get
only
here.
way I metric the passage of time.
God, I almost started talking about it again. No, I did start talking about it again. Okay.
That's it's BO and AO. Yep.
Well, instead of asking him about that, I'm going to jump into the squadron briefing. How's that sound?
Woohoo!
Incoming priority message.
Squadron Briefing.
Okay. Cool. So, this has apparently been updated by Blooming Wind, so it's official. Loose screws are in 406 star systems. Now, naturally, I think I would say is in, but he wrote are in.
Well, the screws are plural, right?
Are we like a jellyfish? Are we like a colony organism?
Is he referring to
Hive
the
mind?
squadron as a singular entity or us as a collective group of individuals?
In saying are,
I
he's
think you
saying
could
a
say
collective
both.
group, right?
Yeah, I think you could say both.
This strikes me as like this is like one of the UK versus United States differences, right? Where they tend to consider corporations to be groups, whereas we sort of inherently think of or just use language that describes them more like individuals.
Well, they're an individual under U.S. law. That's why.
Right.
Corporations.
The Louvre Rouge aluminium in 406 star systems.
Okay.
It's
So anyway, 406 star systems controlling 120 before I let him assassinate this whole bit. We're expanding out of 6 Andromedae, but to where? Dun, dun, dun. States of interest. There is boom in 7 Andromedae, which is one more than 6 Andromedae. There's civil unrest in Cephei sector.
You ain't reading this shit.
No, I am. Cephei sector MC-VB2-1.
Oh, yes.
Col 285 sector HT-WB16-3 and V518 Carinae. Carinae.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Election in Alexandrinus, 3-2 on day 6. Dragging that one out, which is, I think, fortuitous in this case. Somebody really blew it when they pushed us into election instead of war there. The power that we don't name, wink wink, that doesn't mess with BGS factions, wink wink, that's definitely doing it, that we're not going to tell you what it is.
I thought you were going to say somebody really blew it when they pushed us into Alexandrinus.
No, man.
I'm like, putting right here.
Anyway, that's all. So that's happening. Where was I? War in BD +67, 1409. LeGuin Terminal in jeopardy. Oh no. A terminal is in jeopardy. That must be just breaking out because we don't have a day count over there. War in Col Sector GN-O B21-1. Ember, which is an asteroid port, is in jeopardy.
Love those.
And an Orbis port called Jeni. We don't want to lose Jeni. Oh no, wait, we get Jeni if we win. We want to win Jeni. See, now I feel like we're talking about trafficking, and I don't like that.
I love Jeni.
Oh no.
Yep.
He keeps trying to get in, guys. Election in Ross 676. Raxxla 6 station if we win. Raxxla 6 station. Well, that sounds like some Trailblazers bullshit right there.
Yeah,
huh?
it's BS.
Raxxla 6. They couldn't put, I wasn't allowed to call our squad carrier the screw bin. I had to misspell it to get past the profanity filter, and they couldn't profanity out Raxxla out of the name your station filter thing. Come on.
Only the most recognizable term in the game.
Fucking asleep at the wheel, Frontier. And that's the BGS report. Pew.
And then he kept talking because he agreed to host the show. That's how the story is going to go later when I tell it.
That brings us very promptly and organizationalizedly to the short PP report.
This is the short PP report.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed.
It's average, so get your facts straight.
Well, welcome to the end of Cycle 74. Looking at things this week, Antal had the best week overall with adding an impressive 5 new strongholds. Young Rui, though, adds the most systems with 8 new additions. And down at the yay! And down at the bottom, Patreus with nothing. And Archer and Ashling only adding 1 system each.
I love how you tell a story with drama where you just like skip everything in the middle. And then to the losers.
Exciting stuff's up top and down below. It's in the
Yeah.
meeting, then up here in the middle, and then there's just a kerfuffle in there.
Yeah. The middle's just Reader's Digest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just kind of there, you know? Yep.
Let's see who else in there. Torvald did add 3 systems, but lost 2 fortifieds, which takes her to be the only one going negative for this week. And that's kind of a big rundown there. Not too much going on. But I've got a little more for you this week.
Ooh.
This cycle marks the 1-year point when I first started keeping track of all of this data for
Okay.
Power Play 2.0. So I now have 1 year's worth of Power Play data that
Well
I've been
done.
tracking and graphing and made my little website for and everything. And with that, I was kind of thinking for the anniversary that like, you know, the thing with the rankings that always kind of bugs me with, especially with Power Play 2.0 is they're really skewed. Like each power started with an existing set of systems and I'm not even too sure how far it goes back. I mean, it goes back obviously through Power Play 1.0, but I wasn't too sure where that even started and how much it was kind of like God handed in that Mahan gets like this 1,000 systems and Ashling gets this 1,000 systems. So like the basis was that you're like Power Play 2.0 kind of started with this basis of a bunch of systems that they already had that kind of gave them and in some cases inflates some powers numbers, in other cases underestimates what they've got. So I've been thinking like take a look like, well, what if only new systems, since I started tracking this data for 2.0, what if only the new systems were counted in those cases to see and to kind of to look at like who are the real powers? Who's commanders that are pledged to these powers that are actually like doing the work efficiently and like growing within this time period, and kind of see like what does that look like? Who's the top ones? How much is there a difference there? So I went and did that, implemented it, and kind of added in to the website. And it's kind of hard here trying to do this over a podcast. I encourage you to go to the site, and there's now a little button where you can like check a box, and it will do it'll remove the starting systems to kind of see it for yourself. But when you do that, you get a really good sense of the scale of who the real powers are, and when you do that. There's a couple that really stand out, and there's probably not going to surprise anybody, but it's at the top overall using my ranking system that weights the systems differently to kind of give a little bit more accurate representation. Ashling and Li Young Rui are like heads and tails above everybody else, and I don't think that's very much of a surprise. It's kind of comes out in the data there, but with this, you can kind of see there is a huge gap between those two and like everybody else. They are by far the top two powers. And as much as everybody talks about Aisling and the sheer number of supporters there, the real number one is Yang Rui. From the sheer output, and from a day-to-day or from a week-to-week look at it, they consistently are always a little bit more. They're looking at the averages of things, like Li Yang Rui is really the powerhouse in the galaxy right now.
Wow, I've just thrown it up on
it.
screen. If anybody's watching the video version, I finally got my ship somewhere, and I pulled it up and just clicked the little button here to show, and it's huge. It's dramatic. It's like twice as many as the next powers down. As like all the other powers. It's ridiculous. In fact, Patreus has basically done nothing for the entire time power play is run.
Yeah, we'll get to Patreus. We'll get to Patreus.
Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. The other interesting bits too on this are like some of the powers that are underrepresented in with when you include like all the starting systems. And I kind of see that when I'm looking at like my numbers and stuff. I haven't been able to a good way to show it until now. But number 3 is actually Antal. But really close with Antal, and they're kind of going neck and neck, back and forth over the cycles, is Kane. They both have been really strong and are the top 4 active groups of powers. So and that's been pretty consistent throughout most of the time that I've been tracking this. There's a really interesting before or during 1-ton trading and after 1-ton trading, and I've been kind of looking at that. And if you're looking at it there, it's the cycle that had happened was cycle 54. And when you're looking at the charts, there'll be this like really super steep climb of the top ones and kind of everybody else, and then there's a little clip, cuts it down. You can see exactly when 1-ton got nerfed, and the funny one is like if you look at that Torval, everybody got hit, and I think number wise, Li Yang Rui had the biggest drop, but they stayed efficient and kept going afterwards with working with what they had. Where it looks like Torval is pretty much just given up after 1-ton in a lot of ways.
Like flatlined.
Yeah, flatlined right down there with Patreus.
I mean, Patreus has been flatlined since much earlier, but that's really interesting though. It's like Patreus, even Patreus and Delane both change very little when you switch between no starting systems and full view. Everybody else seems to change quite a lot. I'm sort of surprised how much of a change there is, but what's going on with Patreus and Delane to a certain extent? They both, I mean, Delane, I can say from being in their Discord, they're not playing the same game as the rest of us. They're here to fight, and they are just here to stir shit. And they just mess with people, and they literally don't really try to capture systems unless they are trying to capture them from somebody to fight somebody. So compared to what we've gotten back from whatever people, seem to be in charge the most on the Li Yang Rui side, where they basically will turn away from pretty much any conflict, and they almost just care about Trailblazer systems exclusively, it seems.
No, I think you're right on.
I love how much of I love how much of an analog there is between the in-game lore, feel, and ethos of the power, and how it manifests in the real-life player base. The Delane,
but it doesn't make track for Patreus. It doesn't make sense for Patreus, but for Delane,
right? Like, my God, it's like, well, there's pirates, man. Like, what? I'm just fucking with people, and it's fun, and I get to harass someone and make some money. And Li Yang Rui's ethos is exploration, and they went full bonkers on getting out to the Pleiades, and also can largely be a bunch of stuffy, no fun wet blanket bureaucrats. But
and trade and stuff.
Thematically, what does Patreus represent? Like, why? Just why? Like, the Empire has Deval and Aisling to represent the two halves of the theme that the Empire represents, and then there's just like Mr. Pompadour over there. Like, okay, why are you here? Like, who invited you? So I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, and the numbers show, I think, really show that out there.
Yeah.
It may be the case where there maybe is just too many imperial powers, and that Patreus just has the lower numbers and just can't, and gets beat upon for whatever reason. Reason, Delane picking on them.
Yeah,
Delane
they would never.
That's what's fun for them. They're just like, Operation Ruin Patreus's day.
They would never dial it back. I like that they gave you the variety with 12, but given the success of the mechanic, I do entertain the thought experiment of what would it be in the bubble if it was just Empire versus Federation versus Independent. Boil it down to 3. How would that actually play out in the numbers? I think the Empire would be potentially a lot less represented, and it's just a thought experiment. They're never going to change it, but
yeah, there's no going back.
Yeah, no going back. Yeah, but a year. So it's been a year for you gathering data, like other than the big changes. Like what's your takeaway after a year of analyzing the system, the actual analysis of the numbers, and how you think the mechanic has played out?
Well, I mean, I don't know, just overall and outside of the numbers, it's been such a fun one to make different parts of the game fun again, or fun that you hadn't tried or experimented. Like, the core of power play, I think, really does pan out there. And behind the numbers too, like, try to keep the growth in a lot of these, and the different powers, and like you're kind of saying that some of the lore and ethos does come into the play, and how each of these powers play. It definitely does come through there. Good example, like on the ethos and lore side, is Cain. Like, I know I've got a few people that I know that are with Cain, and their strength is mining. And when they find and they do an efficient job with it too, they'll find opportunities and set up group play mining operations when they find like really optimal situations, and you'll see them pop up, and you'll see like really good growth on them. Same with like Ashleen. Ashleen is the princess of Relics Rush. For whatever reason, they don't really pay too much attention when it's like 120 or under, and the other powers will kind of take advantage of that and use it in those cases. But as soon as it pops up, man, Ashleen is there in full force, driving driving crazy numbers every single time. That's just seeing that very gameplay, and those like the Relics Rush, like it's one, like, it is definitely debatable, like, whether that should be nerfed to some extent, and the advantage that it gives to certain player group or some certain powers and things, like, there's definitely a decent debate there. But on the other side of it is before rares were this thing, like, who really cared about rares outside of like collecting them for engineering, right? Or like, or finishing whatever the little tasks were that you had to do early on. Like, and now it's like this one particular rare has this couple really good characteristics that makes them different from the rest, and the player base has like studied and eked that out, and now it's like a regular event that people are spending good amount of time on in BGS to promote and prevent, right? Like, I wonder, and honestly, I don't even think FDev, there's so many variables in this game, I don't even think they planned out. This was just something that just happened from the many variables they've set that they didn't quite really understand what the effect was, and put like these game pieces in, and hey, go play and go do what you want, and like, the player groups going out and finding this and taking advantage of it and making a thing. That's a whole lot of fun.
It seems like if they wanted to make some change about it, how would they even do it? I mean, what would they do? And if they did, so if they take away this like 400 to 600 boom thing that happens, then rares would just become something that doesn't matter. That's the trouble with how min-maxing focused this game can be. Right? Is they really worked hard to make things just as balanced as they could, and it's never going to be perfect.
Wow.
But like rares are not. Unfortunately, rares oscillate from being the best thing out there when they're in season, and only because of this system's BGS, to not really worth messing with, a little below 3 or 4 other methods of making control points, right? Am I wrong?
No, that's right.
Totally.
That's right.
So if they adjusted the BGS subtly or God handed in that there's a cap on this particular thing, all it would do was just people would stop messing with rares outside of like if they felt like doing their tasks.
Well, there is a clever way they could do it, but we know they're not going to.
What way would that be?
It would be open only. Open only for rares.
Okay. Actually, now
that's the counterplay. The counterplay is not dropping the merits. The counterplay is you only get them if you take the risk.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with you, but not to the extent where I would actually shout about it. I would say in this particular case, it actually doesn't matter because of the distributed nature of rares. So rares pops up and it's one big system. You think, oh great, everyone's focused there. But all you're doing is catching people returning to pick up more relics. And when you get shot down on your return trip to pick up more relics, you just teleport back to the station faster. So really the pirates,
point. Yeah.
the gankers, we would say, are doing people a service when they kill people in Ngiri.
Because you can safely jump out as long as you can get into the system, you can safely jump out.
Yeah.
Right. You leave the station with a full hold and jump out. You're not in danger then.
Oof. Let's daydream here a little bit. If you have rares in your hold, that's 7.5 kilometers from the station. Like you can't jump till 15. Ooh, the danger zone.
Come on.
But
that would swing it so far the other way. I could instant kill so many people. It would be ridiculous.
I love the cyclical nature of it because the idea, I love just exactly what you said, that they've done the homework, tweaked over the last year and a half to get the numbers where your activity you enjoy can contribute in a way that you don't feel like you're wasting your time. I do like that there is the Gold Rush psyche is a part of the game. It has been since the early days in the CG. Just the idea that for a short amount of time, like this is it. I like that. And cargo hauling is not fun for me, but I appreciate that there's a sense of urgency that you can have, and you wouldn't. I would much rather that be balanced with another gameplay mechanic than just taking away the surplus of merits you can get in a short amount of time. I don't have a good example for that or a good solution for it, but I appreciate the cyclical nature of that, even if it's not the most interesting gameplay.
This game
I appreciate that it's a system. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I guess I agree with you insofar that I appreciate when it's a system. I like when it's not just like, and then we decided this would happen. So it is nice when you try to make emergent things work, and they do work. I don't have a problem with these rushes that pop up, and I'm pretty sure all it would do is just make relics not a thing otherwise. So anyway. I think it's all right.
Yep.
Game design. That's been great about this. Like game design's really, really hard. Making a balanced game. Like, I think we all think about this game probably way too deeply, and like you think about all these like the TFG, right? Like this game, like,
it's
right?
Fucking game.
But it's part of the appeal of it is like there are so many variables. It's like it's even out of control for the developers to they have it in control enough, but it's they don't have complete control over everything, and they work really hard at it, but there's just enough there that it's too much, right? And So and like I respect them for that in a lot of ways, that they just let it be what it is and do what they can, and try to change the dials where they can, but not change it too much. And trying to get all the dials set right for this kind of stuff is like, man, I don't like, how would I do it? I'm not too sure, right? Like you would have to really change the game greatly and simplify things, and then it's a different game.
And I just got to add, after a year and a half of this, I care so much less about the numbers and mechanics than when this came out. I love power play now almost exclusively for thematic reasons. Like, when in God's name, like, where in God's green earth would you care about a system like Bumber or Alexandrinus in the pre-power play era? You wouldn't.
Yeah.
It'd be a stop off for fuel that you would never think about again. And we are leaving practical imprints on the galaxy. And I had a hunch when this came out. I was like, Power Play 1.0 was a dud. It reached a stalemate and then was an afterthought. And when this all came out, I was like, there's so many things that can weave together here, and it's absolutely played out that way. The one thing I keep coming back to is, like, they've got Keith the intern chat GPTing some CGs. We're writing our own story that they don't even need to address. Like, there's wars across the bubble you'll never hear about that if you asked the people involved, they could talk to you about it for an hour. I just love that we're all leaving our imprint in our own little parts of the bubble. And to me, it makes it's 10,000 named systems. And now after Trailball, there's, Jesus Christ, how many populated systems are there? It's probably tripled or quadrupled before that. And it takes that anonymity and that kind of, that daunting figure. It's impersonal in how many there are. And you now have your space in that, in a dynamic and sometimes permanent way. So I'm still super jazzed about it. To me, it really is the glue that holds the whole thing together after this last year and a half.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cha-ching! That's the sound of the check clearing. Yeah. Thanks, Frontier.
Thanks, Frontier. Yeah. Yep. I mean, honestly, like, before Power Play 2.0 came out, I was Elite was kind of a solo game for me. I didn't really play with anybody. I just got on and, like, did what I was going to do and played whatever. And I'd follow and listen to podcasts and things like that, but not participate. But I was getting like and the Thargoid War ended, and I was doing a whole bunch of AXI for that and things. And like, it's kind of getting, like, I was kind of at the end. I was probably going to take a long break on it, but then Power Play 2.0 came out, and like, I never did Power Play. Let me give this a try. And like, everybody was getting excited up for it on our Discord and everything. Oh, let me start like trying to play with these guys. And so we started playing Power Play and messing with it, and like, oh, this kind of cool. And like, hey, like, like the leaderboard kind of sucks. Like, I could do better than this. And like, the next thing you know, like, hey, this guy wants to go to hell. Like, I'll help out on building a highway to hell, and here I am now.
Highway to hell. Yeah, we are. Yeah, I just love how long it's taken, guys. I did not envision this taking this long. I had no idea we were going to stir the hornet's nest. I had no idea Archer would give a crap about us in our little corner. I had no anticipation other than like a series of like relatively easy victories. Jesus Christ, was I naive.
Yeah, look how much fun it's been for so many people too.
Yeah. Love it.
Oh.
All right. Yep. Well, guys, I have like a whole another probably 3-4 paragraphs I could go through here, but
wild.
Probably be a good time to take a little break there and move
go
on
to dev news if you want.
Kill it. All right. Yeah. So apparently there's dev news. Tell me about that.
Do we have? Is there don't we have my own little soundbite? Is that?
No, that's for Community Corner.
Okay. It's Daxi Chat. Boop, 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 boop. No, we're doing dev news, guys. There is a new CG. This is back to the wonderful, or everyone's favorite wonderful time traveling plant. the Radicoida unica.
Yeah, did they
We're
fix
not-
that bug for the CG, or are we all still going to be
Oh no.
having stars jump
It's
around in
all
our face?
part of the plan. You just don't
Sure.
understand. Yeah, they're milking the Radicoida after the spanner we threw in their gears of not settling the Enclave at all. We're not scanning it. You're gathering seed pods. Apparently, unless they bump up completion, it's going to complete in like 2 days. They always bump those numbers up, though. I don't think they've ever let us knock something out in like a few days. But reward is good. So I did all the Odyssey engineering right after it came out. It was a massive pain in the rear. I love that these CGs are throwing you real actual gems if you didn't bother with the engineering routine for Odyssey. Stuffed to the gills, Maverick suit, grade 5, and geared for combat, which is exactly the main suit I roll around in. I call it my operator suit. You can cut into buildings, but you can still hold your own in a fight. So definitely worth it if you haven't crunched out the engineering stuff. Let's see who can tolerate another minute at the Radicoida site, because God knows I definitely had my fill in the last CG. But yeah, have at it. I just am really encouraged to see the Odyssey specific CGs continue on, because with operations coming out and the whole unique guns thing that I wish I knew more about, but I don't, they might start actually throwing us some goodies that have a little bit of variety that are just not the same.
I don't think anybody's said anything about unique guns.
I thought so. Wasn't there the whole currency? The currency that we can
The
rewards
currency
that you couldn't
exists.
get otherwise or something.
rewards
Yeah,
you can't get otherwise.
It sounds like you can trade them in for things. Some of them might be. Well, I don't want to get into that because that's
who knows?
probably bullshit. But it's a currency, so it can be traded for who knows what. But nobody said anything about unique guns. So
okay,
don't
well,
put your
I
hopes too
retract
high.
that rumor. Let's just go back and edit that out. And who knows? Maybe CGs in the future that reward us with that currency. So I'm really excited to see how that system could play out. And in Galnet news, they gave us this in-game explanation about the October Consortium. Have we had any clarification as to what they are, who they represent?
It's like a think tank. They like to decorate in a lot of sort of oranges and reddish browns. They wear knee-high boots and vests. There's a lot of pumpkin spice lattes going on. This is what we know so far.
They all have that kind of warm filter on their Instagram photos. It's all just kind of eerily similar.
Yeah, everything's like 50% sepia.
Anyway, so Exogene Sciences guaranteed to play out all fine, all dandy. This will all work out for humanity's betterment. Nothing in this whole plot arc is going to go wrong.
Right.
I assure you. Yeah, I'm still just like, did they put the consortium in the codex at the Odyssey release and just shoehorned this in? Anyway, I flew out to Daxy's Folly and did that whole BS, and I still have a sour chip on my shoulder about it. So we'll see if something actually comes of that. And that's the Galnet.
Hey,
Wondrous.
How did I do?
That wasn't Galnet. That was the dev news. Did you do Galnet too?
I kind of shoehorned it in right at the end there, didn't I?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic.
How far off are we from operations?
April 20-something?
I don't think there's a firm date, is there?
I swore
Did
it was
I
late
miss it?
April.
It's April. I thought it was April.
Yeah.
I
think
we
it's
might
late
not
April.
give
Told
it a firm
ourselves
date,
April, but
Well,
a man
feeling
can
like
dream.
late April.
we are in
I'm
April.
feeling like late
I don't
April.
know. It's
I
ready
mean,
when it's ready. I don't know.
They're not gonna shadow drop it. That's
Well,
not
I
their
don't know.
gig.
It's like the Kestrel, right? We got the like roadmap, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, when the Kestrel's like in 3 days, go.
Yeah.
It was like the least teased ship ever.
Yeah. I've done just quick tangent. I have done a total 180 as far as operations goes. I was legit bummed that it was not all in-game, just different scenarios for group on-foot play. And then I learned you can do it remotely. And then I had weeks like the past couple of weeks where I don't have fucking time to go fly to your little system you're operating in. I want to press a button and just hop in with you guys. And my turnaround to loving operations was almost instantaneous. I was like, oh, that's exactly what operations is going to be. That would be incredibly convenient. I can just pop in for like a half hour. Wow, that would be really nice. So yeah, my operations turnaround is now complete.
Yeah,
Yep.
I tend to agree.
Yeah, actually excited for it. Okay, well, if speak now or
Roy.
forever hold your peace, Roy.
Roy, I believe that you had the
Discussion.
the skeleton, the bare, fleshless, dry, rotting skeleton of a discussion topic in mind.
The hell?
That's a dark intro. Okay.
What a setup.
Hey man, your skeleton's been inside you the whole time.
Jesus Christ.
See if I can rescue this.
Yeah. Salvage.
Yeah. So here we go. About 45 minutes before we started recording tonight, NASA's Artemis II mission made a successful translunar injection burn, and now 4 humans are on their way to the moon. I watched yesterday's Artemis II launch live, and it hit me more deeply than I expected. I knew intellectually that it was historic, but I was surprised by how emotional my response to it was. And I think part of that is generational. A lot of us who play Elite grew up in the, let's say, long shadow of Apollo, born during or just after that golden era of moon exploration, with all the optimism and futurism still echoing around us. But for most of our lives, humanity mostly circled close to Earth. There's something a little melancholy in that, a sense that we arrived just as the future lost momentum. And I'm here thinking maybe that is part of why games like Elite Dangerous resonate so strongly. They let us step into the space we were promised, which also makes me wonder whether one of Elite's greatest strengths is not just scale, but wonder. And whether the game is at its best when real astronomy breaks through the space fantasy and reminds us why the stars mattered in the first place. I'd like to start by going around the crew. You've all seen the Artemis. You all saw the Artemis II launch.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to start with just what was that experience like for you? Trax, why don't you start?
Well, okay, so I was born in 1983. And so, yeah, a lot of space shuttle stuff going on, but not, I was long after anybody was doing anything outside of LEO, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been kind of following along with this and hearing about the project as it goes. So yeah, it is a big deal. I think it's gonna strike me when we do the next one, the one we actually put down on. But this is obviously very important, and it's pretty cool. And also nowadays, I guess we get so much more tech that we can watch compared to how things used to be. You used to see a launch, it would be like tuning in on live TV broadcast, but it's not. Now you can hear the radios and you have all the flight information. And I don't know, I guess my experience, I'm sitting here next to my wife, we were sort of killing some time. She was watching a TV show and I was like, oh, we're like T-minus 20 minutes till this thing. Let's switch over to YouTube here. And so we swapped in, and then it's like, oh wow, look, and for one thing, noticing solid rocket boosters when you see the smoke, I'm like, oh, we're back to the 80s
Yeah.
now and using these weird fuel types. They must have a good reason for that. I never bothered to figure out why they decided to do that. But so then in that sense, it looks like an old rocket, compared to what we've been seeing the last few years with like SpaceX and stuff all the time, routine launches, But then just kind of think, and I love kind of watching them do their, we're coming up to max Q and now we're going to, main engine cutoff and when it's going to switch to this other propellant and figuring out the speed and stuff. My wife's like, "What? Oh my God!" She keeps remarking this. They're going 12,000 miles an hour. Now they're going 18,000 miles an hour. She's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Well, it takes a lot more speed than that if you were going to leave Earth."
Yep.
We're just this is the like slow arc over the horizon that just gets bigger and bigger until it includes the moon. This is like slow, low fuel version of leaving. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Space is cool, man. So anyway, is that what you wanted? Is that what you were going for? I think I landed on something eventually.
This is only the first question,
Mm.
so we'll get there.
Okay.
Kruger, what do you think?
I need to
What
talk
did you
less.
think? No, you're good. You're good. Kruger, what did you think?
Well, it snuck up on me in the first point. Like, I mean, I knew Artemis was a program and was going on. I remember, like, I kind of watched a bit of when they sent the test one up, Artemis 1 stuff up, and like, but there's been enough time, and I kind of forgot, and like all of a sudden, like, oh man, they're really doing like, people are going to be going around the moon, and like, how long has it been? Because it's like we did it so long ago, and it's such a part of the fabric of our culture that now that it's like, it's part of like the the United States like
Identity.
right? Like this is us as like as people, but it's been so long, and we've kind of held that we've held that, but we haven't really done it or repeated it for a lot of good reasons. Like, it's just super expensive, right? Like, this is hard to do. It's still dangerous, and which, maybe make a note of that, because that's like kind of an interesting part to kind of come back to in this modern age, and the danger's still there. But like, I didn't quite realize, like, this is the first time in my lifetime. And I'm old. Like, I was born in 73, but the last time anybody went out like this was in 72. And I didn't quite realize that. I thought there was still some kind of going on into the 70s. So like, it's been a really long time. And like, so like that, like, kind of like shook me a little bit. Like, oh, this is, I mean, and another one too, like, I have always been, like, since I was a kid, I've loved space. I've, everything about it, all aspects of, from Star Wars to NASA to, like, just, there's like, I could go through just repeated things. Like, a freaking, like, my wallpaper as a kid was like spaceships and stuff. So like, this is like right into my wheelhouse of stuff. So and and there's been like space missions that kind of pop up that like kind of catch, like, oh yeah, they're doing like something cool. Oh man, like, the ones that just previous to this that caught my same level of wonder was the SpaceX, like the automated launches and retrievals of the rockets, and like, and watching them come down on this like little ship in the ocean, and watching the thruster thing, like, just the level of technologies that we've got to be able to get to that point with it. That's an amazing thing that, like, was the last thing that kind of amazed me here. But this was another one that kind of, like, catches you again. Like, we're like, people are literally going the farthest away from Earth that we ever have, and back to the dangers. Like, it's really interesting to kind of like start looking into the details with it, in that, like, with the modern technology that we have versus what they did back in the 60s and 70s. And like, it's one, like, looking back, it's like, it is amazing. What they did with the technology that they had back then is super incredible.
Yeah, crazy.
Tiny fraction of the computer that's in your car.
Oh, yeah. It's insane. It's insane, right? Like, and now, like, here we're doing it with, like, I haven't found, like, I was going to look up to see, like, what kind of computing power they've got in it. But you can see it. You can see the cockpit screens, and they've got, like, just these great, like, color layout screens and, everything, right? But
well, wait, did you hear about the Microsoft Outlook thing?
No, I did
Guys,
not.
they have 2 instances of Microsoft Outlook to send and receive email during this trip, and they were both fucked up. And somebody had to remote into the spacecraft
Oh
to
my
fix
God.
Microsoft Outlook on the fucking spacecraft. Anyway,
That's
go about
awesome.
your business. That's
No,
real.
Great. That's one of the cool things that
Let's
I've
go
heard about with
back
this.
to how they did it in the Apollo program.
It's like, what the fuck?
No, because you're talking about like sitting there like watching like the like these feeds, right? And like just how much better it is now. And there's actually like I was reading about this, and that was like, oh my God, this is amazing. They're literally, when they get to the moon, they are going to be streaming 4K video back over lasers, freaking lasers. They're going to be shooting lasers back, sending 4K video for us to watch.
Well, they have to bounce
as
it
they
off
go
something,
around.
right? Because they black out, comms
Well,
black out on the other
they
side.
can't do it from the far side, but they'll record it
Yeah.
and then send
Right.
it. Yeah.
Those conspiracy theorists are going to be so pissed.
No, nobody
it's all
who's committed to a hoax or belief is going to be convinced by any
Shaken.
evidence. It's
Yeah.
Adaxius, what did you think when you saw the launch?
I was profoundly affected, and here's where I prove that I do have real human emotions.
Or you can simulate them really well.
I can simulate them really well. I watched it with my daughters, and what struck me deepest was knowing the whole context of the former space exploration program, that it like in theory represented a lot of scientific pursuit, but like in the accounting represented a lot of political ambition and a lot of like political one-upmanship and a race between nations, which is ultimately useless. And that's where literally why a lot of the money was put behind it. And this doesn't have that. This is that feeling of we can do things with the right motive. Not everything has to be tainted with a level of cynicism or like ulterior motives. And that hit me really deep. And also, just consequently, I'm a product of seeing Challenger at an impressionable age. I was 16, I think, 15, 16, and watched it live. I walked home from school and it had just happened. And I remember standing. It wasn't like a 9/11 moment, but it was an imprinting moment. And watching Challenger disintegrate, and the newscasters, because back then news wasn't this 24-hour thing, but in real time, like the collective grief that came from that, and understanding how that might impact these type of efforts, and seeing it just frankly go well. I mean, watching it and knowing like, my God, the forces they're dealing with, the number of things that can go wrong, and hearing how smooth it went. It's really, really hopeful in a way that was profound for me, and that I did not expect it. It really kind of hit a nerve that I didn't know that I really had. And sitting there with my daughters, especially, it's something that you hope that marks something for them. So it really impressed itself upon me. I was really glad that I watched it.
Do you think that this mission, I mean, we've had SpaceX, simultaneously land boosters back at Cape Canaveral, right? They're launching so many satellites for Starlink a week. We've lost count. They're up to, I don't even know what the pace is now of rocket launches from SpaceX. Do you think a mission like this still cuts through all that and feels culturally bigger than just another space headline?
1,000%.
Why?
It is, I think, and this is totally an unfortunate accident, but the personality of a guy like Elon Musk, coupled with his actions, is, I think, unfortunately inseparable from the activities he pursues. And I think there's such a collective bad taste in our society's mouth, at least over all that, that this is, entirely devoid of that. And entities like NASA kind of carry their own cultural footprint. And even in the current political climate, regardless of your persuasion, NASA kind of, here we go, operates in their own orbit. Ba-da-ba-ba. And I think that kind of speaks, I don't know, it touches a collective sense of American society that can feel very fractured in a way to me. So I think that's kind of what it hits.
Okay.
I think I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's like, as much as SpaceX makes some cool tech, it is really hard to go, yeah, but yeah. And this is out there for science, and it's not. I'm not concerned about, okay, great, but what about the eventual debris and stuff that's going to come from these satellite clusters, and what about the astronomy impacts that is already happening because they're literally like blocking telescopes, and a lot of things that haven't been thought of because move quickly and make money is the number one thing, and sort of riding. I think that guy's rode the wave of nerds liking his enthusiasm for technology, and anyway, whatever. He can't hide his personality anymore, but or chose not to. But then NASA does this stuff with, constantly getting cut by politicians, getting their funding cut and things like this, and they're still managing to pull something off. And it's the harder exploration too. It's, low Earth orbit can be stuff that, sure, like this can be accessible now to companies to a certain extent, and we're going to set our sights on pushing the envelope again, which hey, that term comes from their early test flights anyway. So they're pushing the envelopes again. Thanks, Chuck Yeager.
Right. So as Kruger mentioned, it's been since 1972 that we've done something like this, and we've lived through some or all of this, depending on how old we are. Back when this was in its heyday, there was a lot of optimism, and you just look at movies about that time, and there was such an enthusiasm for where all this was going. Moon bases, going to Mars, like who knew where it would go, and then it just kind of paused. I'd be curious to get, and maybe we'll start with Kruger on this one. How much of Elite's appeal do you think comes from letting us step into that, something like that imagined future, versus other parts of the game?
Oh, how much of the appeal? For me, it's a lot. It's a lot of the appeal, especially Elite. Like just getting into the spaceship, having it going onto the in the hangar, having to go on the lift, lifting up, and then letting go, and like that little blip of where it looks kind of like a little weightless, and you go and you thrust off, and you can then like rotate, and you're going around these space stations in like with like Newtonian physics to a certain extent, and they like being able to go like the 6th degree of freedom, just like as close as you possibly can to like a real ship. And then like, going into Super Cruise and being able to like just like go and visit these places, like imagining that you're in the future, you've got this thing that's like this engine that's pushing you there, and you're able to go do it within minutes to get out to these places that you've thought about in your head, and like and that have grown up with it being like this, like space is this frontier, this place to explore, and then FSD drive into a whole different star system. And the fun one there, going back to Project Hail Mary, or pick whatever sci-fi book especially the harder sci-fi ones, where they always picked various stars, and being able to like, oh, I remember that star from this book, and like literally getting to like go and fly there, and then see what the generator, like the guest
Stellar Forge,
ships and stars, and like finding these binary suns, and like I mean, I still get a thrill. I don't know how many times I've jumped, but like coming out of hyperspace or witch space and like zooming into a star, and I love it. I still love it. Like it still gives me a thrill every time. And the other one too, like the like it's been great. Like, you know, I've been playing on a flat screen for most of this time, but recently got like a VR, and it's like VR has made it a whole different game and brought back all of that wonder and everything for me again in all of this too. So, it's core to this game. It's probably the reason I play. I mean, there's all the other fun things about it that, like, shooting pirates and going and doing these things and trading and visiting and all that stuff's like just great too. But the core of it is like, I'm like, and especially with VR now, like I am in a spaceship, like doing what I want, flying the galaxy, and it just hits that dopamine of the same spot of from when I was a kid.
Trax, you fly in VR almost exclusively. Is that right?
Unless I'm doing a podcast.
Well, okay. So
yeah, pretty much.
Does it still have that, what he's describing, the sort of wonder for you of being in a spaceship?
Oh, I mean, that's why, fascination with space and I can just get myself daydreaming about things, the movie, the Project Hail Mary, all this like time and space and thinking about physics, and I'll just, I don't know, sit on a sunny afternoon sometime and just be pondering, like, like I don't even know what I'm saying right now. It's like it's such a dramatic, focused fascination for me. There's no way I would have even remotely this interest in any kind of like simulation game, much less an MMO. Like I have no interest in other like group multiplayer, whatever you call them, this kind of thing, right? Like an open world. There's tons of these games that I could get interested in.
Yeah.
It's the setting, right? And there's enough of the realism and the things that they left out. I could nitpick and I wish that we could. I think I was saying something to you at the beginning of before the show about like, I do sometimes wish that we could have a little bit more thought about orbital mechanics, but it's like it's taken out because there's that line of where the game still has to be actually fun, and then it becomes Kerbal Space Program or something, and it's like you're studying the math in order to get it done. I think it would be fun to have to think a little bit about, if I'm in orbit and I need to the counterintuitive things, that's the word I was trying to think. The counterintuitive things about changing orbits, like having to speed up in order to get closer to the planet and things like that. We don't have to deal with any of that stuff, and it would be kind of crazy, and there's already a learning cliff, and but those are the things that would like increase my fascination, but it wouldn't make for a game that would be this popular, right? And would have, so I love and respect these compromises that have made it so fun, but still be able to be fascinating. And I love being able to, like you say, like the stellar forts, like what did they come up with? Oh, isn't this cool? And showing off to friends like, oh, look at this famous star, here it is, it's so big, and like the size is, correct to the science, and showing my friends or my family members or something, oh, show me a black hole. And it's like, well, we see the lensing, but they still find it spectacular.
Okay, well,
in some way.
Let's jump to that. Let's say I'm gonna pitch this over to Adaxius next. I'll say which astronomy grounded things in Elite create the most wonder for you, and what makes them work?
So there's two of them. One is the visceral sensation of jumping into a system with a star big enough that you can tell. And let me explain that. Stars can kind of feel, you know what I mean, right? And more so in VR. I don't play in VR, but stars can kind of feel the same distance. But occasionally, I forget, it's the biggest star that's in the galaxy. I forget its name. But you jump in, and it's like, oh my God. Like, it's that obvious how immense this thing is. And how else would you communicate something with that magnitude, on a flat screen being rendered in a 3D video game, but that feeling of like, whoa, wow. And second to that is black holes. I mean, black holes for me, I do appreciate that our understanding of the real life visuals of black holes has evolved. I would absolutely adore if in-game the model could reflect more of that. I mean, I think that scene from Interstellar is unforgettable if once you've seen it, and understanding that actually really is what they look like.
If they're big enough, and stuff is falling on them, right? But they can exist without a glowing horizon.
I have and this is a real quick tangent, but I have an intellectual association with black holes that borders on religious, because it hit me once, and I still don't know if I'm articulating this right or well enough, but that we are familiar with the fact that light, photons don't experience time. They're moving at the speed of light. To them, the moment of emergence is the same as the moment of arrival, and whatever that means. But to some certain extent, inside of black holes, the inverse is also true. Like in a supermassive black hole at the very center, motion is impossible. There is so much force once you're in it and compressed at the singularity. Like, there's no motion anywhere, which means in some sense that time is so slow it goes on forever. Like, there's some version of this that eternity is not a religious concept. It's literally happening right now in the heart of a black hole. And I cannot tell you how much that melts my brain. I'm like, I've reached the limit of what language I can use to describe the feeling. And having that in my brain and having these assets in game to visit, it kind of touches that, how this mystery that we can't name about the fact that we're in this universe at all. I mean, and amazing. A video game is the bridge to provide that. But the fact that you have the physical experience of travel and getting there and what these things mean, to me, it can't grow old. I really, it feels the same now as when I first fired this up on Xbox all those years ago.
Kruger, you had mentioned to me something about the little bit you dabbled, you called it a little bit, but the bit you dabbled in exploration prior to maybe what your pursuit is now. Was there anything in that you found particularly interesting or producing wonder?
Well, the root of that is, and the root in the game of exploration for me, and Elite Dangerous, is that like that moment when you realize that the galaxy in it is a 1-to-1 representation of the Milky Way, and with as close as they could do representation of the number of stars, the density of stars at the various locations, and having them all be like the sheer number of it and the size of it that's there, and it's represented there. That's like, the core bit of Elite, or that part of Elite that like just hits that scientific kind of wonder and wonder about it. And from that, like, the Stellar Forge, right? Like how, and the other one too is like, for me, I'm a software engineer. So, I program all day long, and I love it. And like, just like, it fascinates me. So like just the whole, so what pulls me in on that side of it is getting into, both the wonder of it, but also how did they do this? Like, how did they write this up and code it? And right. and in a way that like you could actually like run, like, cause there's billions, like you're talking about billions and billions of things. How do they do this where it actually like is manageable and runs for like, as many people as they can on this like, multiplayer online game, right? So that was like kind of the next thing. It's like, how did they do it? Which, that kind of pulls you in on the Stellar Forge side of all the details there, of trying to get an understanding of like, the procedural generation for this is done in a way that, like, it gets procedurally generated, but consistently for everybody. So there's a persistent universe there for you, which, we kind of mentioned when we were talking to, like, gets you into voxel, like you're looking into voxels and voxel theories, and then there's the next level of, like, oh, those names, those big crazy names with the codes at the end aren't just some randomly generated identifier. To an extent, there's, like, meaning to those, and people have figured out, like, what the meaning is, and that certain parts of the code will mean these things for how the stars may be generated in these areas. Which then, I don't know, hits another thing for me of, like, oh, how can I, like, most efficiently do that and optimize it, and kind of look at these things to kind of increase my chances of going and finding an Earth-like world, or like certain things, which kind of calls to like that exploration of the galaxy through Elite. Those are the main hooks into it. The funny thing for me on that is there's so many things and so many cool things going on in Elite that when I do go out and explore, like, it becomes the actual process of going out, doing the honk, doing the scan, going to the different planets, and then scanning them. I lose the jump there. It becomes a little bit more repetitive video game like to me, and I lose the hook of, like, oh, I found a system that's, like, the coldest system, or, like, has, like, this unique aspect to it that I think a lot of other explorers have gotten to that point, and, like, and are looking for those, like, diamonds in the rough, or these things that they haven't found before, or no one's found before, and I haven't gotten myself quite hooked and made that jump yet. So I've kind of stuck around the bubble, mostly because
let's talk about what you just mentioned there. Like, there's things, and I'm thinking here also of Canon comes up with lots of things you can go and look at. They track, like, for example, impending collisions of moons and planets for, one of them I think they tracked for like 4 years before it happened. Have any of you gone and looked at any of those types of oddities?
I've landed on, or I've went to Meteorens Hollow.
Oh, that's another one.
That's an oddity, yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, you kind of started to touch on this, Career, but what do you think people are hoping to get out of those moments when they find something like that? Or whether they found it for the first time or they've been directed to it?
Well, I that's one of the things I like about the game. That's not my fun, at least not yet, that I've found. But it's great that the, like, other people, when their personality that they've got that, and they, like, you can find and kind of scratch that itch of what they enjoy with that part. So, like, that's one I really enjoy, that like, it's that this games can be something different to different people. And then on top of that too, the thing, like, if you grind too much at any part of this game, you're going to get burnt out on it and bored on it. So an important thing to learn with this game is like, hey, when you start kind of getting bored, go do something else, right? Like, if you've been doing a lot of combat, like, go change it up and maybe go explore, go do this other thing, go trade, or go maybe.
All right, I'm not going to let you off the hook this easy. I'm not going to let you off the hook this easy. Here's what I want to know is, you haven't gotten hooked by this. So what's missing? When you, like, is it spectacle, interaction, consequence, danger, payoff, or something else? Like, you're finding that in other places. What's missing for you to go and look at these oddities or explore for fantastic new unique things?
Oh, I think
in the game.
Yeah. I think what's missing for me is a little bit like what some of the aspects of things that you touch on is that it loses some of the gamification, or the gamification of that part.
That's what screws it up.
It isn't there for me. If it was better, if the game was better about when I'm out exploring and doing some of the things, like, there's some of the third parties tools do this really well, but if it was more in game of, like, hey, there's these really interesting things that could be out here, you should go check them out. And if you go check them out, have it, to the gamification, like, there's a board, like a more in-your-face board of things, like, oh, the Codex does do this to a certain extent, but it
pull
doesn't
instead of push.
Yeah, it doesn't slot machine enough for me, if you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like visuals and dings and like little things by my name or something like that shows off and brags to everybody. Like those parts of it where, like, if there were some hooks in there to kind of entice you to go and collect all the things, or go do the work to scout out and find these certain things. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's missing, because it's ones like, I get out there and like in a little bit of the realism gets in the way here. It's like, oh hey, let me ping this system. All right, 40 bodies. 38 of them are icy bodies, right?
Yep.
Like, which is very realistic, and you want that to a certain extent, but it's sometimes hard to know, and you really, like, you have to get into the charts and deep into the UI to kind of look at like the characteristics, and then actually know the science and have done the research to say like, oh hey, like this one's really weird because these numbers are odd here, and I haven't like that. Like, for whatever reason, it's kind of funny because usually like that kind of stuff like hooks me and I get into it, but it hasn't so much here. So if I had a little bit more of those like kind of leading things to kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adaxius, you're not an explorer per se, but you've gone on some expeditions.
I have.
Well, yeah. You've also.
No, I have. Oh, that was not a question. I was.
Yeah, you have.
Was wrong.
Yeah,
I remember.
But you've also escape potted out of some expeditions. What was missing for you to keep you hooked in it?
I would love. I'd love if the exploration gameplay loops got more invested in. I really love the FFS scanner mechanic. I have moments in the game like that when I go like see a black hole, or like when I got out to Sag, where it's very much a kind of visceral, more experiential moment to have. But I do like a lot about the gameplay, and I wish that exploration had the depth that combat does, or that anti-Xeno combat does. And I think that when Odyssey came out, there was a lot of potential they could have added. And, all of us, of course, daydream about the game and what we could design. I appreciate exobiology, but I feel it was pretty minimal, like really minimal as far as this execution. If there was much more to do, or for me being like such a social extrovert, if there was group exploration gameplay that wasn't just you deciding to do the same activity, there were activities that it was like in theory possible solo, but much more fun or much more rewarding in a group setting, I'd be a lot more engaged in that. And part of that comes from why I choose to approach the game at all. Like, Elite's my forever game because it's social. I'm a really socially active, extroverted guy, and single player games to me don't carry the weight much at all that they did, at least when I was younger. So some of that's a personality thing, but as the game progresses, I really still hope and pray that they give the overall experience of exploration more mechanics and ways to feel that you're interacting with the sites that the game is really good at providing. So that's kind of where it sits for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree with, especially the thing you just said there at the end is, although I do get a lot of satisfaction from finding, let's say, beauty in unique systems when I'm out exploring, I think it's not the spectacle that's missing, because there's lots of that. It's sometimes the payoff in the sense of like I've gone to some of those planet collision sites when they're about to happen, and the event happens, but the game doesn't seem to notice that it happened, right? And because you're running around and the two planets come together, and then suddenly you're inside of one and you can see like the matrix of the structure that's drawn inside the body, right? Mm-hmm. of the moon or whatever, and it makes the whole thing feel a bit thinner than maybe it could. It's like if I find something,
which hurts because you went there to try to find the depth, and what you found was you looked behind the set and saw the strapping that's holding the cardboard together.
Right. Well, yeah, and you've mentioned this too, just in your, maybe 2 comments ago, Trax, that there's this thing about friction where, like, there's systems you could put in the game that are more real science, but how do you balance between, say, wonder and friction? What could you do that would not just be a chore to do? Because I think right now, a lot of if you look for and it looks like maybe I'm the only one in the group right now that would say at times my main loop has been exploration. But if I think about what explorers I think generally do for a sense of accomplishment, is it comes from, let's say, self-imposed endurance, going a very long way to Colonia, then to Cephei, then to Beagle Point, or going all the way around to the east, west, north, south, farthest points.
Yeah.
And it's the distance, right? Now you've done something like it's a, Shackleton or something. You've gone to the pole, but it's a substitute. It's a poor substitute for something that feels more real or has more consequence. So I'm gonna.
Well,
go ahead.
on that thought, this doesn't happen to me. Like, I don't have the exploration bug, and I think it's like been said really well by you guys all just before me. I don't really have stuff to add, but like sort of on what you're saying right there, it's like I assume the people who are explorers, they're not trying to accomplish anything. Right? When they sit down to play, it's like, I wonder what weird thing I'll find. And they have found actual joy in looking at the system of icy bodies and then teasing out, like, probably over many, many hours of poring over the orrery data and stuff and being able to notice things that I wouldn't be able to see in it without assistive lenses, so to speak, of somebody pointing me there and telling me, look at this cool thing. And so they can just take pretty pictures and drift, or, there is, when they sit down and they just scan a bunch of systems, and a couple of them had gas giants that were this color, they were like, yeah, cool game session, right? Like, that's an explorer, right? The payoff is you're doing it. It's playing Super Mario is playing Super Mario. It's not getting to the end necessarily. Am I making sense? Anyway,
yeah,
I think that's how they must feel.
And let's stay focused on that for maybe the last question here. And it's not about exploration per se. It's about wonder, right? And it's about the fact that, just to go all the way back to the start, we're finally in real life perhaps restarting a kind of real life situation that this game provides a fantasy around, which is humanity's expansion into the universe, right? So if we want to talk about wonder, let's do this. You each get a card to hand to Frontier, and on it you can have one of these 3 things: either a new mechanic, an astronomical phenomenon, or a rule change that would add the most wonder to Elite Dangerous. What's on your card? What trade-off are you willing to accept to get it?
That's a toughie. Can you go through the options again? What are my options?
A new mechanic, an astronomical phenomenon, or a rule change that would add the most wonder to Elite Dangerous.
Oh, I can think of one right off the cuff.
Okay,
I can't think of the last portion. I'll give you guys time to think. As far as the physical sensation of exploration and the framework the game has to provide it, as a very small mechanic, I think would go a very long way. I would add the ability to plot a jump by looking at a star in the night sky. Like, you're on foot looking up at the heavens from the cockpit.
Okay, yeah.
From the cockpit or on foot, you're looking up at the heavens and you say, that one. And
that's so good. That's
plots
so
the
good.
jump.
That's
Plots
fun.
the jump, and you're boom, and you're going. I would love it.
Yeah,
I would love it.
It seems like it could work too.
Yeah.
Because they draw a gal map. They draw the parallax map every time.
Everything renders every time. Yeah. Like you get done scanning your last plant and you're like, cool, great. And then you look up and that one. And you jump.
So you can have a telescope
goosebumps.
in the ship. Okay, this has made me think of something. I've often thought that like we don't have telescopes in our ships, right? We have these like scanners and stuff, but I feel like it could have been done differently. So you had to like peer at something and take measurements to learn about it. This would all really slow things down and make it a much more exploration-based game, right? But I always thought that was something that would be missing, that would have been present if it was like a real space exploration simulator in a sense, right? We should have a telescope and I should look in different wavelengths and I should be able to determine what planets are there. You know, if I'm going to jump to a star system that hasn't been plotted yet, that's what I ought to be doing, right? I ought to be like, I can see the light, I can measure its mass with all the technology, I can see if there's probably planets there, and then I have to jump in and you could install some danger in there too, like you have to get it right, or if you misjudge something, then you could be too close, and you know, I don't know. I'm just riffing.
I'm going to throw back to a little bit of the not much known Roy and Daxi ancient lore when we had a full-length audio drama podcast that took place in the Elite Dangerous universe. And in one of the episodes, the high wake to the other system didn't work and it cut out midway. And they were stranded midway. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what do we do now? I wish there was a 2% chance of that. Maybe a 1% chance.
Well, hyperdictions cause that.
They do.
You are between stars.
You know, imagine, and not all the time, imagine under a threshold of integrity for your FSD.
Yeah.
It's like, boop, you're stranded midway.
Yeah.
And
instead of just refusing to jump.
Yeah, that'd be a better consequence.
Mini game or something, and there's like high stakes. And, whoa. Yeah.
That could be fun. I think, okay, so there's this other idea. I think the thing that does give me a sense of wonder still in this game that I think pretty much works is, I believe I'm using this word right, the overview effect.
Mm-hmm.
So being able, and this isn't just, I mean, the Gal map is fun, right? But it isn't just like zooming in and out on a map. Although that's the top layer of it. It's that then now I'm in the cockpit, and when I approach a planet, it looks really small, and then it gets bigger and bigger. And then if it's one that I can descend onto, it gets bigger and bigger, and the terrain keeps loading and keeps loading. And I think this game does a really good job. And it's the reason that I kind of concede that Odyssey was an important thing to happen, although I don't think Elite Feat was chosen as that update for the right reasons. I think it was chosen for like some kind of idea of something that they had to do to keep up with the Joneses or something like that. But what it does mean is that the overview effect now can go all the way out from the Gal map into a star system, into a planetary body, and see the relative sizes from perspectives as you fly between them and approach one or the other, and then go all the way down and land, and the buildings you're landing next to still look kind of small from the cockpit, and then you get out and they're towering over you once you're standing on the ground. So all the way up and then all the way back down. So how would I improve that? I think this is why I keep wanting more kinds of worlds, you know, and the trouble is there wouldn't be able to be much there, or it would just be such a massive amount of work, right? But I don't know, thicker atmospheres, being able to go into gas giants, all kinds of things like that different types of the lava worlds and I don't know, that having such a limited set that you can land on, and it's like, oh, but it's not rocky ice, so I can't land.
You know what might be a half step towards that wouldn't be the level of work where you have to populate everything with
content
animals
there,
or something, is make a body that's a little bit thicker atmosphere. It could still be mostly barren, but if it had weather, and maybe bodies of water, right?
Yeah.
So now you could have basically sunsets with clouds on a lake, or you could fly through a thunderstorm or lightning or things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels like there's pieces of that in the game engine between what we've done with the Titan clouds.
Yeah.
And water graphics within different megaships, and stations and things like that. That might be possible.
I'm okay with with most of the galaxy is still empty. And I think that's kind of a necessity. But yeah, I agree. It would add so much. Weather could count for that. That could bring us closer to gas giants and stuff too. There's only so deep you'd be able to go before the heat and pressure would be too much anyway. I love little bits, anything like that where I have to actually think about something. I hate the emergency stop from out of Super Cruise. Drives me crazy. If there's a safety feature I could take, give me a break. None of my ships have a rear view mirror, which is, 1920s tech. And every single one of them prevents me from flying into a star invariably. Come on.
I think the 1984 game, you could look backwards out of your ship, just saying.
Kruger, come on.
Kruger, have you thought anything yet? We give you some time. You got anything?
Oh, it's made worse because they both came up with such good ones.
Good luck.
Just say you can't think of anything and admit that you suck.
No, I'm going to give you my probably now what feels like a mediocre and sucky.
We'll riff on it. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
And I was trying to avoid that. Because there's the cliche ones that everybody asks for, right? Which would be great, like water worlds and all that.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Yes,
of a
my
little
idea
bit,
was cliche. Go on.
No.
Wow.
Sorry. No, you had sorry. There's another really good idea there too. Sorry. The thinking about the when you're out exploring, how can you get more information or be able for the game to kind of call out more interesting parts about the systems that are there. What kind of came to mind was maybe a full spectrum system. What is it? Full spectrum system scanner?
Yep.
The FSS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, full spectrum.
There's too many S's, but yeah, that's the right idea.
There's a lot of S's. The maybe because I think it might be we might be on 2.0 for that, but maybe a 3.0 of that, where it's kind of a fun mini game now. They do a pretty good job there of having it be this mini game where you scan around and stuff. But it's and
it kind of means something too. I think they tied it in with the audio they use. I was impressed by that scanner.
Yeah, that
the audio is really good on it, especially too when you zoom in on different planets and things, or different different signal sources and stuff, and the chatter, and they do a really great job there. And I would love to see an even deeper version of that, where you go into a system and you honk it, and you spectrum scan it, and you go through, and as you go in and you scan it out, getting some of that more information, have it do a more of an analysis and calling out hey, there could be these interesting things there. It's kind of part of the game that they could expand that. And and as you, because I think about it right now, usually when I'm doing it, when I get to a planet, I kind of just, and maybe this is partly me not really experiencing exploration as much, but I zoom in onto the planet and I immediately zoom out, because I want to move on to the next thing and just get that get all checked off, right? But if there was something cool in there to do more scanning of the planet, or scout some more depth in that part of the game, they could add some things there that wouldn't necessarily have to be reflected in the procedural generation as when you're flying around and things, and kind of expand that and make that more of an in-depth part of the game. That might put those elements in there to kind of add a bit more for me.
Okay.
Cool.
Something I would like to see in the game, and it's kind of in a way, it's a bit of an intersection between two of the things you brought up at Axios about pointing at the sky, and also getting dropped out between systems from witch space. there is in the game, or at least it's represented in the journal files, rogue planets, and I think comets as well. But neither of them have been like visualized literally in the game. But there's something in the engine for that, and I think that would be in the same way that you can go and visit the Voyager probes. Like this idea of you can't just maybe this has changed now, but you can't just scan that from the star and go to it. You literally have to look for it, either visually or maybe there could be a thing with clues about jumping,
Yeah, I remember hearing
partway
about
between
that a
two
long time
systems.
ago.
Yeah, like imagine if you got a clue about, or you could see in the sky some evidence of a rogue planet, and then the exploration turns into I have to jump between these two systems and drop out at some point with some calculation or maybe a scanner or who knows what. I just think it'd be fun being on a planet that's not around a star, that's going somewhere. It's actually traveling between systems. I think that'd
This
be cool.
planet's really going somewhere.
Maybe one named Raxxla.
Yeah, that's neat.
One
That's-
day.
Yeah.
That's neat. I remember hearing about those. I do think that you can just kind of scan them now, but also we have the FSS, which wasn't part of the original games, and that specifically is probably going to be the easiest way to find Voyager probes. Although I've never personally tried. But I think whatever I was going to say just vaporized into thin air. It just left my mind.
Born in 1983.
I'm losing it. No, I don't know. I forget what I was saying. Never mind. Whoops.
Well, I appreciate all the answers. I think, and I think it came up also earlier, was like elite doesn't necessarily need more accomplishment, but there are opportunities to increase the wonder and not make things feel like a grind or a game. There's ways to lift this up in different areas, so I appreciate those answers. Does anyone have anything else to add to this topic before we move on?
Not I.
Not I.
Nope.
All right.
Does that mean we're in Community Corner?
It's the community corner. Here's where we pretend we have friends.
I can't follow that.
So happy we have that.
All right. Well, up this week for Community Corner. First, you're kind of stuck with us because Lave Radio is on hiatus this week, so we are the Community Corner. And first one, Distant Worlds 3 is headed to their 8th waypoint. Freya BIO PT-V C17-0 will be the destination, it looks like, on the 5th of April. Then stellar screenshots.
Rolls off the tongue.
I was waiting for some comment about
rolls off the tongue. Yep.
Let's see. So stellar screenshots for this round is from Star Fox, Straya, Alec Turner.
Yeah, that's a plant.
He is consistently good, isn't he? Like,
he's not good, but he's an inside job. Is what I'm saying.
He's got the inside line. Yeah. Alec. All right. Also, Amorum, Diva Mage, Texas Red, Reese Lang, and there are others. And finally, there's a store sale. Pretty much everything's on sale to some degree or another. I was scanning through while we were chatting here, and there are some good ones. One, the Kestrel. The Kestrel's on sale right now. So if you didn't jump on it like right at the start, like you should have, you were smart then because you saved a little bit of arcs there. But yeah, definitely, still kind of early in the whole arcs.
But you missed out on several weeks of flying it. It's a fair value.
It's on sale now though. But yeah, you go through. There is a ton of stuff.
If you fly your Caspian to the Radicoida site, you can get the experience of flying it longer because you're in the past.
Let's not.
And to save anybody the time, I did go to look to see if the dodecahedron might have been on sale, but it's still 50,000 arcs. So no
yeah,
discount
remember when
there
we
yet.
just took their word for that as not being a permanent arcs only thing? How many weeks ago was that? How many ships have come out since then and gone credits only? It was around the time of the Caspian, wasn't it?
Keith, the intern, just forgot to update it.
I think the Caspian and the Dodec were similar time frames.
That sounds right. That sounds right. But, yeah, bad
I
tempo.
got my eye on you, Frontier. I'm always watching.
They don't give a shit. Wait, maybe because Lave's off, they will listen. So yeah, maybe they do give a shit.
Ooh.
No, they
There
listen
goes
to
our,
me, remember?
our chances for the
yeah.
Shock cannons, remember?
They designed my perfect ship and then used the gun I told them to use.
Shock cannons.
They fixed the shock cannons.
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular.
And that is it for Community Corner this week.
All right. Guys, this was fun. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks, Roy, as always, for doing all my work for me.
My pleasure.
I guess I'm still technically publishing it each week, but you sure do make it easy to come up with content. Oh my God, it's almost 11. Okay.
Yep.
My little puppy has done a really good job of having a nap this time, but nobody else is home right now, and I need to get him up and run him around a little bit before he has to sleep through the whole night. So, yeah, anyway, thanks everybody for joining. A really fun discussion. Thanks, Roy and Kruger and Audaxius. I keep almost calling you Doxer.
Yep. I never change it. I'm subject to the whims of the Discord.
I'm the one who changed that, so
yes, you
it's
are.
my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, that's the story. I guess I'm docked at Exogene Sciences, so I guess I'm gonna grab at least one egg. I don't think I need this Maverick suit. I already have a Maverick suit the way I want.
Get it.
I'm just gonna get one egg.
Get the suit.
And then I'll probably just hover around and probably just lure. There were some Archon Delane players out in space when I was there, so probably this will be the hotspot for that.
Do you use an SRV to get the egg, or do you pick it up, or what do you do?
Okay, so right before we started, I did watch the Galnet News Digest YouTube video about this CG, and so I can confirm you do not need an SRV. You just shoot the glowing ones with your gun and then pick up the eggs that fall out. Apparently, I assume they take up backpack space, but I think they're a material or something, because I saw people in System Chat saying you didn't need cargo space for them.
Okay.
So if you pick them up on foot, I don't know. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't take up backpack space, but still, the limiting factor is the heat on the planet anyway.
Right.
If it's in the light. All right. That's it. That's it, everybody. Thanks. See you next time. Say I love you. I love you. Goodbye.
I love you.
Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.